Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins 69, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, uncover hidden gems, and share stories behind some of the most sought-after currency in history. Today, we're zeroing in on a coin that's as iconic as it is intriguing, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This small but mighty coin holds a special place in American numismatics, blending rich history with the thrill of rarity and value. If you thought pennies are just pocket change, think again. Some pennies, especially from the Lincoln Wheat series, can fetch jaw-dropping prices, depending on their condition, mint mark, and unique traits. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why a 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny might be worth $150,000. So let's start from the beginning and take a journey back in time. The Lincoln Wheat penny was first introduced in 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, breaking away from the tradition of symbolic figures and heraldic designs. The obverse side proudly displays Lincoln's profile, a timeless tribute to one of America's greatest presidents. The reverse side, which distinguishes this series, features two stylized stalks of wheat framing the words, 1 cent and United States of America. This wheat design was used until 1958, after which the Lincoln Memorial design replaced it in 1959. Now, the 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny marks a significant turning point because it was the final year these iconic wheat ears appeared on the back of the coin. This makes the 1958 penny the last of an era, instantly giving it a nostalgic and historical importance, but not all 1958 pennies are created equal. The value of any coin hinges on several factors, chief among them being the mint mark. In 1958, pennies were minted at two locations, the Philadelphia Mint, which generally does not carry a mint mark and is identified simply by the absence of one. The Denver Mint, which struck coins bearing the letter D under the date. If you have a 1958 penny with that little D mint mark, you already have something a bit more interesting than the Philadelphia issue. But that's just the start. What really sends the value of certain 1958 Lincoln Wheat pennies skyrocketing is when you find them in exceptional condition or with unique minting errors. Condition is everything in coin collecting. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, where 70 is a flawless, perfect coin fresh from the mint, and 1 is barely recognizable. Finding a 1958 penny in the highest grades, think MS 65 and above, is incredibly rare because by the late 1950s, pennies were already heavily circulated and used daily. Collectors prize coins with sharp, clear details, no scratches, no discoloration, and strong luster, the shine that tells you the coin hasn't seen much wear. Such coins look almost brand new, despite being over 6 decades old, but condition alone doesn't tell the full story. Let's talk about mint errors, which can take the value of a 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny to an entirely new level. One notable error is the double die. This occurs when the coin is struck twice, but the die isn't perfectly aligned, causing some letters or numbers to appear doubled. On a 1958 penny, this could mean Liberty or the date, 1958, looks like it's been stamped twice. These subtle variations are extremely prized by collectors because they're rare and visually fascinating. Another intriguing error is the off-center strike. Imagine a coin where the image is pushed so far to one side that part of Lincoln's face or the wheat stalks are missing. These coins are unique, eye-catching, and often valuable. Some 1958 pennies also exhibit die cracks, small raised lines on the coin surface caused by cracks in the die used for minting. While minor, some collectors find these interesting, and if pronounced, they can add to the coin's value. Now, here's the catch: combining high-grade condition with rare mint errors makes a coin nearly priceless. Take, for example, a perfectly preserved 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny minted in Denver, with a clear D mint mark, no wear, strong luster, and a noticeable double die error. This coin ticks all the boxes for rarity, condition, and intrigue. When such a specimen hits the auction block or private sales, collectors are willing to pay a premium to add it to their collections. And this is why, after years of trading and verifying, certain 1958 Lincoln Wheat pennies have sold for truly astounding sums. So, what's the price tag on one of these rare beauties? Here's the exciting part. A 1958 Lincoln Wheat penny, bearing the D mint mark, in mint state condition, with a rare minting error, has been known to fetch an incredible value of $150,000. Yes, you heard that right. $150,000 for a single penny. This is a prime example of how a small, often overlooked coin can become a treasure worth far more than its face value. The key takeaway? Always check those pennies closely. You never know which one might be hiding a fortune. Today, we're traveling back in time to explore one of the most iconic and sought-after coins in American numismatics, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny. This tiny 1-cent piece carries a powerful legacy, from the design to the era it was minted, and believe it or not, some of these pennies can fetch an astonishing price. If you've ever wondered about the true value behind these classic coins, you're in the right place. Stay tuned because at the end, we're revealing just how much a rare 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny can be worth, and trust me, it might surprise you. Let's start with some historical context. The year 1944 was a pivotal moment in world history. The world was engulfed in World War II, and the United States was deep in the effort to support troops overseas. Everything, including coin production, reflected the realities of wartime America. In fact, the U.S. Mint had to adjust its metal usage because copper, a key component of pennies, was needed for wartime production of ammunition and other military essentials. This makes the 1944 penny a fascinating artifact from that era. The Lincoln Wheat Penny itself was first introduced in 1909, breaking the mold as the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, President Abraham Lincoln. Its reverse features two wheat ears framing the words, 1 cent, and United States of America, a design that lasted until 1958. The coin's timeless design captures the spirit of American resilience and pride. Now, focusing specifically on the 1944 penny, you might expect these to be fairly common. After all, millions were minted to keep up with the economy during the war. But like many coins, rarity and value come down to specific details: the mint mark, condition, and any special features or errors. In 1944, pennies were minted primarily at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. The Philadelphia coins are the most numerous, but the Denver and San Francisco mint marks can be more desirable, especially in higher grades or with unique characteristics. Condition plays a huge role in the value of any coin. Many 1944 pennies you find in circulation will show signs of wear, scratches, discoloration, and the smoothness that comes from decades of use. However, pennies that have been well preserved, showing crisp details, strong luster, and minimal wear, are extremely valuable to collectors. Coins graded as MS, mint state, by professional grading services, meaning uncirculated with no wear, can command serious attention. But what really separates a common 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny from a potential treasure is the presence of mint errors. One of the most fascinating and valuable errors found in 1944 pennies is the infamous 1944 steel penny. To explain, during the war years, copper was scarce, so in 1943, pennies were struck on steel blanks coated with zinc. However, in 1944, the mint switched back to using copper from recycled shell casings, but a small number of steel planchets from 1943 were accidentally mixed in with the 1944 copper blanks. This resulted in a few 1944 pennies being struck on steel, giving them a silver-gray appearance rather than the typical copper red. These 1944 steel pennies are incredibly rare and highly sought after. Because they are so unusual and stand out visually, collectors pay a premium for these error coins. If you happen to own one of these, it's more than just a curiosity, it's a potential jackpot. In addition to the steel penny error, there are also double-die errors, off-center strikes, and other subtle variations on 1944 Lincoln Wheat pennies that can increase their value significantly. These minting quirks happen during production and make each coin truly one of a kind. The final crucial factor that drives the value up is the coin's grade. Even an error coin that is heavily worn will fetch less than a perfect, flawless coin with the same error. High-grade coins are the holy grail for collectors, especially when combined with rare mint marks or errors. So, if you have a 1944 Lincoln Wheat penny, the best thing to do is inspect it closely. Look for the mint mark below the date, note the color and surface, and consider having it professionally graded if you think it might be in excellent condition or shows any unusual features. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, a rare 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, especially one bearing a Denver or San Francisco mint mark, in pristine mint condition and possibly featuring a notable minting error like the steel planchet mistake, can be worth an astonishing $100,000. That's right, $100,000 for a humble 1-cent coin. Today, we're diving deep into a classic piece of American numismatic history, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. This tiny 1-cent coin packs a punch far beyond its face value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just curious about the hidden treasures lurking in your pocket change, this video is going to take you on a fascinating journey through the story, design, rarity, and ultimately, the astonishing worth of the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny. First off, let's set the scene. The year is 1953, post-World War II America. The country is booming economically, the suburbs are growing, and American culture is evolving. In the middle of all this, the United States Mint was quietly producing billions of coins to fuel the nation's economic engine. Among these was the Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that had been in production for over 4 decades by this point, yet still held a special place in the hearts of Americans. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. This coin was groundbreaking as it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. Abraham Lincoln's profile has adorned the obverse of this penny for over a century now, symbolizing American values of freedom, unity, and perseverance. The reverse side, with its iconic wheat ears, symbolizes prosperity and growth, perfectly capturing the spirit of a country rising to new heights. By 1953, the design remained true to its origins, but the coins minted that year have since become a point of fascination for collectors. Not all pennies minted in 1953 are created equal. Some stand out because of where they were minted, their condition, and unique minting variations. Let's talk about the mint marks. In 1953, pennies were produced at 2 main facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place a mint mark on its coins, and the Denver Mint, which stamped a distinctive D beneath the date on the obverse side. The presence of a D mint mark can add a layer of desirability to the coin for collectors. Now, you might be wondering, how common are 1953 pennies, and what makes them valuable? Millions of these coins were produced, so the 1953 penny might seem like just another everyday coin. But therein lies the secret. While the majority circulated heavily and lost their original luster, a select few survived in nearly perfect, uncirculated condition. These coins, especially those struck at Denver with the D mint mark, are the ones that catch the eye of serious collectors. Condition is king in the world of coin collecting. The grading system ranges from poor to mint state, with coins graded MS 65 and above being exceptionally rare for pennies of this era. An uncirculated 1953 penny with sharp details, a bright sheen, and no surface blemishes is truly a gem. Beyond condition and mint mark, there are a handful of known minting errors and varieties from the 1953 penny series that increase value exponentially. Among these are subtle doubling of the date or letters, known as double die errors, which occur when the coin's design is accidentally impressed twice, causing a shadow-like effect. Another sought-after error is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is not perfectly aligned, giving it a unique, sometimes dramatic appearance. Now, here's a fun nugget of history for you. The 1953 penny also comes from a fascinating period of transition for the U.S. Mint. Techniques were improving, but human error still played a role, leaving behind these unique and rare imperfections that collectors today would give their right arm to. So how much can these coins be worth? The truth is, the value of a 1953 Lincoln wheat penny can vary dramatically depending on its condition, mint mark, and rarity. A heavily worn, common Philadelphia 1953 penny might only be worth a few cents to a collector. But that changes dramatically when we talk about coins that are well preserved, with a Denver mint mark, or exhibiting minting errors. In fact, some 1953 Lincoln wheat pennies have sold at auction and private sales for prices that might make your jaw drop. A rare, pristine example of this coin, especially one with a Denver D mint mark and a notable error, can command prices that rival gold and silver bullion. And now, for the big reveal. A 1953 Lincoln wheat penny, in excellent condition, with the coveted Denver mint mark and potentially an error or rare variety, can be worth a staggering $120,000. That's right. $120,000 for a single 1-cent coin. This is a powerful reminder that in the world of coins, the story, the details, and the rarity combine to create extraordinary value from the most unassuming objects. Today, we're unraveling the story behind one of America's most cherished and collectible coins, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it may seem like just a simple 1-cent coin, but trust me, this piece of history has layers of intrigue, rich symbolism, and surprising value that can absolutely blow your mind. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone who casually enjoys spotting rare finds, this deep dive into the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is going to give you all the insights you need, culminating with the coin's incredible worth revealed at the end. So, buckle up, and let's take a fascinating journey through the life of this humble but priceless penny. To start, let's rewind to the year 1950, a time when America was transitioning from the immediate post-World War II boom into the early years of the Cold War. The nation was optimistic, rebuilding, and expanding rapidly. Against this backdrop, the United States Mint was producing coins that would be used every day by millions, yet today, these everyday coins serve as tangible relics of an era that shaped modern America. The Lincoln wheat penny, first minted in 1909, was created to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. It was revolutionary because it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, breaking away from the traditional use of allegorical figures or symbols. The obverse side features a dignified profile of Lincoln, symbolizing liberty, leadership, and integrity, values deeply woven into the American identity. Flip the coin over, and you see the iconic wheat ears that frame the words, 1 cent, and United States of America. This reverse design, known as the wheat reverse, was meant to represent prosperity and the agrarian roots of the nation. This design stayed in use until 1958, making it a beloved classic among collectors and historians alike. Now, let's hone in on the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny itself. At this point in time, pennies were minted primarily at two locations: Philadelphia, which produced coins without a mint mark, and Denver, which marked its coins with a small d beneath the date. These mint marks are essential identifiers because they help collectors determine the coin's origin and often influence its rarity and value. Millions of 1950 pennies were struck across these mints, so on the surface, they might seem abundant. However, many coins were heavily circulated for decades, and finding one in exceptional, near-mint condition is increasingly rare. This scarcity is a significant factor in the coin's collectible value. When evaluating a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, the first thing collectors look at is the coin's condition or grade. Coins can range from good, with heavy wear, to mint state, which are virtually flawless. A penny in mint condition shows no signs of circulation and retains its original luster and sharp detail, especially on Lincoln's face and the wheat ears on the reverse. Next, minting errors can also add tremendous value. In the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny series, certain rare errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can turn a regular penny into a valuable collector's item. For example, a double die error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, causing a shadow or doubled image effect on the date or lettering. These kinds of mistakes were unintentional but are now prized for their uniqueness. Another interesting aspect is the metal composition. While most pennies around this time were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, wartime pennies from 1943 were made of steel. The 1950 penny returned fully to copper, which contributes to its warm, reddish color. This composition is important not only for collectors but also for anyone interested in the coin's physical characteristics. Now, let's talk about the market for these pennies. A common, circulated 1950 penny might only be worth a few cents or dollars at best. But when you find one with a Denver mint mark in pristine condition, or better yet, one with a recognized error, the price can jump dramatically. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC provide authenticity and grading that often increase a coin's market value. for serious collectors, owning a 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny in high grade with a rare mint mark or error can be a centerpiece of their collection. These coins tell a story, not just of the man on the obverse, but of a nation's economic history, its minting technology, and the quirks of human craftsmanship. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, a 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny, especially one with a Denver mint mark, in exceptional condition, and possibly showcasing a minting anomaly, can be valued at a jaw-dropping $90,000. Yes, that's $90,000 for a coin that most people might toss aside as everyday pocket change. Today, we're embarking on a fascinating journey into one of the most iconic and historic pennies ever minted, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny. If you think a 1-cent coin is just pocket change, think again. This small, humble coin carries an incredible legacy, an intriguing backstory, and yes, some very serious value. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about rare coins, stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is a prized treasure, and how much it could be worth in today's market. Let's start by setting the stage. The year 1941 was a pivotal moment in American history. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and the world was edging closer to global conflict with World War II already raging overseas. Against this turbulent backdrop, the United States Mint continued producing coins that were destined to become much more than mere currency. They became tangible pieces of history. The Lincoln Wheat penny, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become a staple of American coinage by 1941. It was revolutionary at the time because it was the first U.S. coin to feature an actual historical figure, rather than symbolic representations. Abraham Lincoln's image on the obverse side represents freedom, leadership, and the enduring spirit of the American people. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the wheat ears on the reverse side, a design that speaks volumes about the nation's agrarian roots and its hope for prosperity. These ears of wheat flanking 1 cent and United States of America symbolize growth, abundance, and the hard-working values that helped build the country. This wheat reverse design was used from 1909 until 1958, making it an enduring symbol of American history. Now, focusing on the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny itself, this coin was minted in large quantities at the Philadelphia Mint, which struck coins without a mint mark, and at the Denver Mint, which added the distinctive D mint mark below the date. These mint marks are crucial for collectors because they help determine the rarity and provenance of the coin. Although millions of 1941 pennies were minted, the real treasure lies in their condition and any unique minting characteristics. After decades of circulation, finding a 1941 penny in pristine or uncirculated condition is a rare gem. Coins that have been well preserved, with sharp details, a full and crisp Liberty inscription, and the fine lines on Lincoln's hair intact, are highly sought after. Another important aspect that can skyrocket the value of a 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is the presence of mint errors. Errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks, where the mint's machinery caused slight but notable variations, can make a regular penny into a collector's holy grail. These errors occurred due to the technology and human factors involved in minting and are cherished today for their uniqueness. The metal composition of the 1941 penny is also notable. Unlike the steel pennies minted in 1943, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it that warm, reddish tone that collectors love. This copper composition not only makes the coin beautiful but also contributes to its durability and historical value. Collectors often seek out coins graded by professional services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, which certify a coin's authenticity and condition. A 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny that achieves a high grade, particularly from the Denver Mint with that D mint mark, is especially prized. Now, what about the market? While a common 1941 Lincoln Wheat penny in worn condition might only be worth a few cents to a few dollars, coins that meet the criteria we discussed can command prices far beyond that. The combination of rarity, mint mark, condition, and possible errors plays a huge role in how much collectors are willing to pay. The 1941 Lincoln wheat penny has also captured the imagination of numismatists for decades because it represents an era of resilience and transition. Holding one of these coins is like holding a piece of the American story, from the hardship of the Great Depression, through the looming shadow of global war, to the hopeful future of post-war America. So, after exploring its rich history, design symbolism, rarity, condition, and the impact of mint marks and errors, it's time to reveal the coin's astonishing value. A 1941 Lincoln wheat penny in superb condition, especially one with the Denver mint mark and rare minting errors, can be worth an incredible $94,000. That's right, $94,000 for a tiny 1-cent coin. Next time you find yourself sifting through coins or inheriting a collection, keep an eye out for that 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. With a bit of luck and the right circumstances, you might just be holding a small coin with a huge price tag. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the fascinating world of the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny. If you enjoyed learning about this coin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on all things rare and valuable in the coin collecting world. Until next time, keep exploring, keep collecting, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins tell the biggest stories.